Hey YouTube, we have a couple interesting replays for you today because Nas took a trip out to US East on 124 ping. He ran into Sabats a couple times and apparently probably wasn't finding a game. If I had to guess, probably wasn't finding a game and really just wanted to play some ones. So he accepted the massive ping disadvantage in a matchup against the Shoe. So we'll see how it goes. Sabats, his kickoff is a deadly one, the wave dash kickoff. I wonder if it'll be even better with a ping advantage. I mean, we've seen KV1 play kickoffs at just about a similar ping disadvantage. What a flick from Sabats. And he's able to figure it out. But Nas is not someone who has to deal with this ping consistently. So I'm assuming we'll see a little bit more mistakes on his end as he tries to handle it. But you never know. Sabats has been playing well. I actually really like that save and that shot. Sabats doing a good job of being creative with the situation he had. And he almost snuck one in. Nas got up to keep it away. Sabats, long shot. Oh, the pogo. That actually would have been such a good idea. He gets back for this save, but, you know, he needed to get up high to follow the double that was going to bounce over the top of a place he could get to. And he realized, you know, pogoing is probably the only way to do it. It would have gotten him back up in the air quick enough, but he just didn't connect on the pogo. I think Nas still would have been there, but you guys know me. I mean, at some point it'll wear off, but right now, the usefulness of pogos. Hey, Nas helped me make my point. That one, though, was just a freebie shot with no defender. But there's definitely uses, and players are looking to find it. I just think it's one of the mechanics that, you know, are clearly not fully utilized yet, and people are on the edge of it. And talking about, you know, mechanics that aren't fully utilized, really, players have not utilized the zap dash as much as they maybe should. And Sabats a pioneer in that regard as well. He's been trying to put it all together. He's playing against Nas. We talked about Nas and how he's playing cross-server right now. But both these guys had similar results, I want to say, in Salt Mine. I know that Sabats actually finished at the bottom of his pool. He was pretty disappointed with how that went, but he went right back to the grind in order to turn it around for Salt Mine Stage 2. He's going to have to protect his spot in promotion relegation, but, you know, I have him as a good chance at doing that. Nas in and out save. Good save by him. Sabats obviously a little bit frustrated. Because I think Sabats, he didn't lose a single game. He didn't lose a single game on his way to qualifying for Salt Mine, so I don't know why anyone would be predicting against him not figuring it out with his next opportunity. Right now, he's going to try and put Nas in net in a tough spot, but not really quite tough enough. He meant to put it high, force Nas to make a bad save, but it was really only about 2/3 of the way up, which means Nas is in and out quickly and has himself a 4-2 lead. I'm just reminding myself here. No, okay, that's what I remember. Atto was the one who finished last. Nas actually finishing 5th, so he does not have to qualify. He is going to be into Stage 2 just fine. He just didn't get to participate in the playoffs. I think Sabats will make it there as well, but there's been a lot of talk about the EU-NA crossover in terms of the finals and just the playoffs in general, and I know a lot of people felt like the Zen Moxie Grand Final was played at a higher level than the First Killer, Daniel, and just the rest of the playoffs over on the North American side. And I don't know what you guys think. Do you guys agree that that's the case? In the past, I would say that North America has always had a really top-heavy region. Like the top 4 players could do just fine in terms of inter-region play, but definitely as you got lower and lower, there's no doubt that European 1v1 is so much deeper, especially considering, you know, it's not really just European, it's Middle East as well, as Nas is being given tons of space. Interesting play from Sabats, maybe because he had no boost to work with, but he just played incredibly passive. Nas wants the Psycho, doesn't get it. Can he get punished? He does. So tie game, but I'm interested to see what you guys think. If you were wondering maybe how the bottom ends of 2 groups cross over, we're getting a taste of that now. But of course, it's important to remember Nas playing at a definite ping advantage, but almost more importantly, a ping that he's not used to playing. Because the South American players have showed that 124 is actually somewhat playable, which is crazy to say. You know, a lot of good wins have happened, but that comes of training on it for a long time, which I don't think Nas has done. Nice 50. Great recovery from Nas. Sabats actually forced that 50 to the midfield perfectly, and it seemed like a walk-in. These guys both at 0 boost, trying to be so calm. That has to be a little bit too calm. You didn't want to use that flip. Using that flip on the goal line is your final play usually. So he's trying to hold on to it. Not the best of dashes. A lot of bumping off kickoff nowadays, especially with these wave dashes that lead to a little burst of speed that you can aim at the opposition. This time actually Nas is matching Sabats on the wave dash and ends up getting the bump. Not able to get the dash this time as he's forced to the ground too quickly, so Sabats actually racing into the corner and beating him there as these guys are neck and neck with 1:15 left to go. A little boost steal, nice undercut, and Sabats gonna earn himself a full boost opportunity. Ness shadowing, and that flick, that top right flick, oh, Sabats just barely off that top right corner. He is starting to have a little bit of a signature with that flick based on the past couple of replays I've watched. By the way, shout out to Sabats, who's going to get back to this one to go up 7-6. He is the one who's auto-uploading his replays to ball chasing, which allows us to have an opportunity to cover some of their gameplay, which is huge, man. So shout out to Sabats. A lot of Sabats games. In case you guys have ever wanted to watch some games yourself, instead of just checking them out on the YouTube, you always can. You can go to ballchasing.com, look up Sabats, and you'll see that pretty much all of his ones games are getting uploaded. If you want to see how somebody gets to top 10, because I think Sabats is inside the top 10 right now, you can see just how to get there. It's not all wins on the way up. Sometimes you run into some tough competition. Right now, Sabats has a tough opponent in Nas. Nas actually sent this high to the ceiling. Sabats, oh, Nas got a little greedy on the save. Sabats was just sending it at net. I mean, he wasn't expecting to score there, and Nas decided he wanted to get a goal line save, and just didn't get enough. So it went in, and no surprise there that it's a frustration forfeit with 12 seconds left. But there's another match. These guys played 2 against each other. Nas queued right back up, so let's watch game number 2. Game number 2 of Nas and Sabats. Sabats gonna get a first kickoff goal. I wonder if Nas was trying to get a touch. Wasn't watching from his perspective. He did need to break up that play and somehow get the ball not falling into the midfield. He might have been trying to pre-flip underneath it in the process. He's got himself an air dribble right now. And the reset over the top of Sabats. Sabats had a ton of boost to work with too. Just decided to play it a little bit more passive. Only challenging long after Nas had the reset, was ready to use it. Kickoff win. Sabats should just be able to walk this in. Am I crazy? I'm like, I think the net is just wide open. Nothing special needs to happen as Nas just left it there. And that's not the best of kickoffs. Sabats will eat you up too, especially with a recovery kickoff. Sometimes when you're trying to win direct kickoffs, I think those delays or those awkward kickoffs can actually shoot the ball somewhere neutral and then it'll be completely tied. But when you're going for the single jump into wave dash, you usually have a much more controlled play. So if you aren't right on top of the ball, it is going to be a fast recovery. Nice play from Nas. Let's get a reset here. Oh, that is perfect play. Earlier, he scored out of the air dribble because Sabats was being passive. This time, Sabats tried to challenge early, and he uses that flip to launch the ball to the ceiling. Gets another one by getting wheels on the ball. First touch reset. This dribble is going to have to be a bump, and even though he does connect on the bump, it was only barely on target anyways. So now Nas, from his back corner, flirting with the ceiling. This time he just gave one to Sabats. By all means, this should absolutely be a goal, and it will be. Sabats, little camera check, just to see if Nas is going to come, because if he's not, he'll take his free ranked points. Says if you don't... Oh, wait a second. Wait, no way! Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I thought that when I saw Cosmic do this, it would be the only time I ever saw it. Sabats. I noticed there that he didn't have it in front of the net. He had it against the back wall, and he just pinches it on the post. Oh my goodness, it should be 4-2. But Sabats is now in a tie game. He's going to get his goal now. Great flick, dude. It's so interesting how comfortably players can get that, because he could have just, front flipped at the ball and gotten maybe not quite enough power, but no, he'll just air roll to set up his flick and easily launch it the full field. Oh, man. This one's going to hurt. If Sabats doesn't win this one, that's a 2-goal swing. Should have been a goal. Now instead of it being what would be 5-2, it's only 4-3. Very dribble bump, a very weak one at that. A pop bump, really. And he's actually found himself on the wrong side of the ball without boost. You can't do that. But Nas couldn't find power without putting it back onto the post that Sabats was covering. Nas really wants these psychos, these back wall reads where he launches it full field. And it is a really surprising shot. It'll catch a ton of defenders off guard, but it's such slim margins. And the end result of not hitting it is usually that. The ball bouncing out to your opponent and you left flying awkwardly nowhere in the play, because the difference between launching it full field and not touching it at all is very similar. Nas, he has the advantage in the aerial game. His ping in this, it's 92. This is actually a pretty good server. I'm glad I checked that, because the last one must have been a central. Because Sabats had 70, so pretty good for him considering he's US West, and 120 for Nas. He's probably pretty disappointed, because unlike when you play show matches on high ping and you get a terrible server, you can't just say, oh, go next. You know, when you queued into ranked, you have to play the game out. You have to play the game out, and you have to just accept the fact that you have a trash server, which, of course, is not ideal. And now Nas with a goal all the way from his own half and a kickoff goal. He now has the lead with 2:13. Wave dash kickoff match by both of them. Both of them shot themselves a bit too high. Sabats seized at the top left corner. Based on the way Nas was setting up in net, he was shadowing, pointing towards the right corner. And so there's almost nothing you could do. You don't even need to put power on it. As long as you put it top left with no boost, there's no way to turn around effectively. And that was proven by the fact that Sabats scored on a bit of a slow pop. So he's got himself tied. Nas, he's loving the air dribbles, and I actually think that's a great call by Sabats to force him back down to the ground. And just a beautiful play. Beautiful pre-jump. Sabats just got himself out of a really dangerous situation. He's continuing to be really passive here. Nas wants to bait him so bad. Did he find it? He did. Wow. Nas, just an expert mind game. Never making a play, not once. Sitting back, and Sabats, who actually I would say played it fairly patient, was still eventually caught out jumping. Ooh, not the flick he wanted. Sabats trying to get underneath that, launch it with power. Instead now, he'll be defending against Nas, and he did not position well. Nas had a moment of weakness when he lost the ball there, and Sabats wasn't in a place where he could make a play. He was kind of swinging wide to set up his defense. And then by the time Nas caught it, he was actually out of position. So just not making himself ready and available for the play the whole time. Definitely going to hurt him. And now 9-6. You know what the good thing is now he's down 3. So if he does lose, he doesn't have to think too much about that miss. Sabats trying to play a similarly patient style here. Nas on the goal line, recognizing that he did not have an opportunity to grab boost, and he actually didn't have an opportunity to get back either. Oh, he didn't want to watch it go in. He said, no, you can have it. I don't want to go down 10-6. I'm just going to forfeit. So with a minute less to go, it is 1 for Sabats and 1 for Nas. Nas definitely had the better game here on his better ping. But I think a good series, or a series would be good against these two. Obviously, a whole series would be played on this more neutral ping if it were to happen. And maybe I'll ask them about if they want to play it, because it seems like a good matchup. But Nas, he takes game number 2. Sabats takes game number 1. And a nice little European versus US crossover.